Okay, welcome to OGHQ version. We're going to call this version 1.1. I had another facility which I never set an office up. I was thinking about it, but I never set it up. This is very similar to how my wealth management office was set up, but on steroids. And so we've gone to the next level here, and I've had this vision in my head for what this would look like. It's just taken me a little while to put it down in person, put it in physical form, because this whole buying and trying of things is tricky. In fact, I'm probably going to have a garage sale of all the extra parts and pieces that I've had to buy to get to this point. So I figured, let's start with the desk. And we'll start with the desk and work our way through this project because there's a lot of stuff going on here and a lot of trial and error that's gone into this. So I've searched online all of the different, there's all different companies that make these stand-up and sit-down desks. I found that the stand-up desk, even though I doubt I'll be standing up in here very often, I've found that the best tech, the best quality is generally available in the stand-up versions. And I know you've seen lots and lots of different setup videos and desk tours. I wasn't interested in going to IKEA and buying something and attempting to adapt it. I want a stout, hardwood, really high quality desk, and I was willing to pay for it. And so I settled on Uplift. Uplift.com is where I got this desk. I was able to call them and work with them and order this specific setup. So the first thing you have to choose when you choose the desk is what material do you want it to be. This is an L-shaped version, so that would be the secondary choice, but the first choice is what top do you want. I wanted it to be wood. They have laminate, they have bamboo, they have several other different versions of, they have a hybrid laminate, so there's all different types and colors and different options. I chose the wood desk. It's the thickest, it's the most stout, it fits my style the most. And they have 11 different choices of the wood desk that's roughly 2 inches thick. So the non-wood desk, I have another one out in the hallway here. The laminate versions are much thinner, so they don't look as stout and as sturdy. So this desk is a L shape, and I've chosen to have the L or the extension on the left side, so you can do left side or right side depending on how your room is set up. But this is 84 inches long by 84 inches long by 30 inches deep. They sell it in several different versions. You can get a 60 by 60, a 72 by 72, so there are different options. The desk has a minimum height of just over 25 inches. We are currently set at 30.3 is where the desk is set at, which is the general height I like to have it. And you can raise it all the way up to almost 51 inches, which I'm 6'2", works for me. So the options as you work your way through the configurator, you'd choose the style. This again was walnut. This was a $383 increase or option. The desk in total was just shy of $3,400 to buy this desk. You also then have the option to choose your size, and then you choose your legs. I've chosen I believe it's called metallic. They come in metallic, black, white, they have, and silver. They have several different options of legs that you'd have to choose from. I don't believe there was a cost change or cost difference in color choice. You also have the option to choose your keypad. They have a standard keypad, or it's a $39 option to upgrade to the advanced keypad, which gives you different custom settings. To be honest, I've even set up the different, it has 4 different custom settings that you can set for high, low, medium. I'm sure you could set different manual or custom height settings. Uplift also offers some different wire management things or wire management options for you. I didn't choose any of those. Later on in the video I'll show you how I chose to deal with the massive amount of wires that I have in this setup. So that's the Uplift desk that we're using here in HQ office. So this is something I was torn on doing. This is a little too millennial for me. You know, I'm an old man here. I'm in between a Gen Xer And what am I in between? I don't even know what I am. But anyway, I was born in 1980. I'm too old for this kind of cool stuff. But I decided to do Philips Hue mainly because all my acoustic treatments, which we'll talk about in a second, make the corner look dark. And I have my Yellow Technica light, which I can adjust and use for this area, and I can turn and kind of light this area up, but it still feels a little dark in the corner here. So my Mica light I'll use primarily to light myself at night when I'm on live stream, when I'm doing live streaming or I'm on camera. But I wanted something to kind of take away from some of the shadows of this area and not have to rewire the whole room. So I added or decided to try the Philips Hue setup. And I'll generally run it in this really bright, sort of closer to probably 7,000 Kelvin blue light versus some of these, crazy, red and orange and some of these other funky colors. But the hub I have set up over in where my network is, and then we're able to adjust the lights accordingly. So the strip is, I forget what the standard length is. I want to say it's like 70 inches. So it runs from here to the window frame there, and then I'm able to turn that off and on via the app on my phone. So that's the Philips Hue setup. So I spent a lot of time sitting here like this, like a lot of time, like hours and hours and hours and hours, and then a few more hours laying on my back. So the first thing with wiring you have to do is you have to wire up the desk. The uplift desk, you have the advanced keypad, which then has to connect all 3 legs. So that was the first thing I wired up and ran and channelized as much as possible and tied using the ties that they sent. So a combination of need for the ties that come with them. It's a little 3M taped little white back, little clip thinger, and then these zip tie mounted. I don't know what the tape option is, but something that I bought from Home Depot or Lowe's in order to fix the wiring to the top of the desk. So this, you can still see some running of wires, but when the desk is down lower, or if you're standing up, the key for me is I don't want to see all kinds of wires hanging. So after I wired up the uplift desk, the next step was to take and get, I think this is a 15 plug strip or surge protector. So I have a 15 plug outlet that I then mounted up to the top of the desk. Again, uplift has a few options, but nothing as robust as what any of us crazies would need in order to run this level of or sophisticated setup. So that was the next thing I did. Then these channels here are from, I think the company is called Bizon Office. I'll put a link in the description below. These are metal. A lot of these channels, a lot of the wire or cable management or the channels for running the different wiring solutions, they're just not sturdy enough. And so these are black, I guess painted black or maybe powder coated metal channels. You buy them in pairs. I have 3 of them running across here that I'm able to zip tie and run all my wiring through. You'll notice the Philips Hue here. Philips Hue is connected, and I'll use a combination of zip ties, the channel, and then some wire loom occasionally to make this work. This is a human scale solution. Human Scale is the same company that makes the chair, that makes the CPU holder that I'm using. They make this wired channel so that as the motorized desk goes up and down, I can at least manage the wires to some extent. We don't really have a choice. I mean, wires still need to go somewhere, so we want to make it look, I want to make it look as clean as possible. If I didn't do all of this work, this really wouldn't look good, and you'd have wires everywhere all over the place. I also took and got this is a Surge X. This is, I believe you buy this through Outlaw Audio is where I got it, but this is a Surge X line conditioner / surge protector on top of the surge protector to help protect all of this expensive equipment that I have run. You'll notice my XLR connections here running to my cloud lifter. We also have quite a bit of wires for our headphones that are running over our pre-Sonos. And then what I did is I took and I cut the human scale CPU holder. I cut it in half and then mounted it up against the rail here next to the leg. And then I Velcro mounted the Promise Pegasus and then mounted my audio setup or audio stuff. So, you know, wiring here is a tricky thing, but you'll notice it at least looks somewhat acceptable, having all of these tied up clean, nice and neat. My cloud lifter I screwed into the frame. Here's the power box for the entire desk setup. These desks can lift about 530 pounds, so I don't know how much weight we have on it, but it's nowhere near that. So that's our wiring setup on our uplift desk. All right, so let's talk chair. I normally can go off the cuff on this stuff, but it's been a while since I was obsessing over the chair. I've had this chair for probably 6 months now. I had it at my wealth management office, and then had it at my home office for a while. But this is a human scale Freedom chair with adjustable arms and all kinds of crazy lumbar adjustments that I haven't quite figured out yet. One thing I do know is it squeaks a little bit, which drives me crazy, so I got to figure that out. But I have it up on screen here so it can help me walk you through what this thing is. All I know is it costs a lot of money. I'm not sure that it's worth $2,200, but it is pretty slick, pretty cool. So the first thing I chose the gel. It has gel arms, which I don't know really matters, but it costs a lot of money for the advanced gel arms. And then I did the polished, so this is the polished titanium look for the entire, or a polished aluminum with graphite trim, which is a $180 option. And then I did the real stinger, which is the Bizon. I thought it would be bison, but it's Bizon, B-I-Z-O-N leather, which is a $740 option. This is the Miso color with vanilla stitching. And then I have the taller cylinder because I'm a taller dude, so this is the seat with a taller cylinder back. But this has standard casters and everything. But once you get in the chair, once you get over the fact that you spent $2,200 on a chair, I figure I spend a lot of time in this thing. It really is a nice place to be, a nice place to sit. If I can figure out all the clicking and clacking and get that all oiled and get rid of that, then this really is an awesome chair. I was between this and the Herman Miller Aeron, which is the standard. I think this one looks a lot cooler. If you take a look at this thing, it's pretty slick looking, and certainly is comfortable and gets you in the right position while you're sitting here editing. So that's the Human Scale Freedom chair. So the guest chairs, and I was down at Danger Brain, who are my designers, and they had this goofy little chair. So they do have all the IKEA desks. Sorry guys, but they have the IKEA stuff that I'm not a huge fan of. But they had these IKEA looking chairs, and I asked them, I was sitting in it all day, and I realized that I was super comfortable in these little chairs. So I wanted something that I could sit up and have guests sit and talk on the mic and be comfortable and be smooth and not squeak. And so these chairs ended up being a great option. So these are called a Flash Furniture. These are a $45 Amazon deal in vibrant black. And then I bought some rollerblade wheels. So these are the desk rated or desk type or floor saving rollerblade wheels from, I think they're called the Slapstick CB960 on Amazon. So these chairs are super smooth, believe it or not, amazingly comfortable. Maybe it just fits me well. But the idea here is that the guests will be able to grab their headphones, sit in this nice comfy chair, and then be able to see the display over to the right. So that's the intention here with the office. So the shelves are a little different. Having the walnut desk, and you wouldn't want to, my style tends to be more sterile, right? I tend to prefer stainless. In the garage area I have stainless steel shelves everywhere. But you're not going to have a desk, the stainless steel desk, at least I'm not, because that's a little too cold to use and type and operate on. So I had to go with something that was a wood finish. And the problem is you go online and you try to buy something. I'd rather just buy it. I'd rather buy something and just order it and have it show up and I install it, like the uplift desk. The uplift desk is very custom, but it is a prepackaged solution that you can buy. Well, unfortunately, that wasn't an option here for these. So what I ended up doing was I went and bought some galvanized pipe. I primed it and painted it flat black. So you have a floor dial, and then this is a 10-inch by 3/4 inch galvanized pipe. And then I went and I was looking for a really high quality piece of wood to make a shelf out of. My cabinet guy, I have these same cabinets in my kitchen. He sources this 2-inch 2x10, I guess actually it's closer to 3x10 pine. It's stained in a much different finish than my desk. I think it's stained different enough that it doesn't clash. This actually matched the baseboards in my wealth management office, but these are, I believe we did 8 foot. So these are 8 foot by 10-inch by 3-inch shelves that are mounted on these homemade dials that I use some drywall anchors on to mount. And I think it turned out great. So there's some of my sharing my life and what I guess I should probably have some pictures of my family on here too. That would probably be smart. But anyway, that's the setup of the shelving. So this thing I'm really psyched about. I had to find somewhere to put it where I could see it all the time. I have the same dials, the floor dials that I use, the galvanized pipe. I just got a 2-inch version of it that I used on the shelving. But this is a Black Art Graphics. They're out of the UK. They have a really great system set up where you can order it and they ship it to you. It clears customs. Everything comes through nice and cleanly. It's expensive. I want to say this was about almost $700 shipped to me. But this is a black, I guess it would be anodized aluminum. I'm not sure the exact material, but it's an aluminum, pretty heavy gauge set of a big hunk of metal that I've mounted on the wall. And this is my actual GT3 RS. Has my license plate, has my VIN number, a purchase date on it. So it has everything that relates to the car. And I just think it's a really, really cool addition to the style of what I'm about. And let's hope that I keep the RS for a while so that it still holds up and I don't have to get another one. So that's a Black Art Graphics mural of my RS. So the next part of the project was to figure out what I'm going to do for a computer. And forgive me for you PC guys, I'm a Mac junkie. The ecosystem, I'm just dug into it. It just works for me, and I love the fit and finish of the product. It just suits me. It's like I could probably get more horsepower if I bought a Corvette and modified an LS. But I just like Porsche. I like the fit and finish, the packaging of it, even though if it's not the fastest machine, I like how it operates. So you'll notice over here, I've got MacBook Pro. I intend to transition to, I'm either waiting for a new version of the trash can, the Mac Pro, or possibly do the iMac Pro. But knowing myself, I'd want the $12,000 version of the iMac Pro. So when I become a baller someday, maybe I'll get that. But for now, we're running MacBook Pro. It's sitting on a Rain Design stand. The MacBook Pro, I think the sticker on that, it's the i9 6-core, 32 gigs of RAM, single terabyte, 1 terabyte hard drive. I think it was with all the stuff that I bought with it was like $38.99, $3,900, something like that. And then the Rain Design, this is the M Tower, which is $45. There's another company called Henge Docks. Their dock is supposed to come out here shortly where I can turn it up on end and plug it, snap it in place, so I won't have these exposed wires. But that's not due until October on this 2018 version of the MacBook Pro. From there, we're feeding, so I'm taking via Thunderbolt 3, and I have a CalDigit 2-meter cable that's running down underneath the desk to our Promise Thunderbolt 3 port, or Thunderbolt 3 dock. The problem with these things is you would think, okay, I'm going to run Thunderbolt 3 into a dock and then I have all kinds of outputs, but that's not really the case. You have one in, one out, which would be useless, but luckily my Promise Pegasus has another in and out. So I'm able to daisy chain these at 40 gigabits per second. So Thunderbolt 3 comes in. I have another CalDigit 2-meter cable running down to my Promise Pegasus R4, which has 4 3-terabyte drives, which is down underneath here on, and we'll show you under the desk when I show you wiring, on a human scale computer tower that I've modified in order to hold the small hard drive array. From there, we're feeding the LG Ultrafine 5K display. This is, I believe, these still sell for about $1,300. By the way, the Thunderbolt port was $250. I don't remember what the hard drive was, but I'll have a link in the description of all of this stuff, so you can look it up if you want to. The main thing I wanted with this is, again, I didn't want to compromise. I want to set up a system that I can grab my laptop, take it home, and then work back and forth. But I didn't want to compromise in quality if I can help it. Obviously, you have to draw a line somewhere, otherwise I'd have a $12,000 iMac Pro here. But this setup is designed to both edit and record podcasts as well as live stream. So I set it up for that specific purpose. If you go back and watch the original setup video of the desk where I show people fumbling through setting this up, I actually had dual LG MU88 monitors on an Ergotron mount, but they just took up too much real estate, so I decided to transition to a single display. One issue you'll run into with any Mac, especially the power-hungry and fan-happy the new 6-core, is that power becomes an issue. And the Thunderbolt 3 dock, as well as the Thunderbolt 3 connection from the Promise, will supply power, but it only supplies 65 watts. So you'll notice that you'll have it'll show that it's connected to power, but yet your battery will still be operating and still draining. So I still had to run the Mac, the little Mac, I guess they used to call it a MagSafe. I don't know what it's called now, I've lost track. But the USB-C connected, so I had to run another wire for that. We are also feeding, which becomes problematic, we're feeding a 4K LG. This is the 43-inch, and it's the UD79 model, which retails for about $700. I think you can get them for around $650 now. But that's a 4K, 43-inch larger monitor that I have for when guests come and we're recording a podcast. So right now I have it angled toward me. It's on an Ergotron HX large monitor display mount, so I can cantilever the display in order to position it where we need it. But one thing you'll run into is that USB-C, and it's tricky to find a USB-C cable that can pass 4K, but if you do find one, they have link limitations apparently. The longest cable I could find was 1 meter. The longest Thunderbolt 3 cable I can find is 2 meters. That's another problem, is Thunderbolt 3 cables are generally 1/2 meter or 2 meters, so I haven't found a certified proper cable that's a 1 meter cable, so I'm having to run everything with 2 meter cables. But the issue here was getting 5K to the 5K display, 4K 60 hertz to the 4K display, and so I ended up having to run it with HDMI. So I have a 25-foot 1.4 certified HDMI cable. Cost me about $90 for that cable to run down the channel here through the desk and then up through the wall. The disadvantage is I'm not capturing or getting any USB connectivity or anything on the display. So my C900 Logitech camera that's on top of that display, I had to run a separate USB connection all the way back to the dock here. So that's the computer setup and how it functions. So for mouse and keyboard, I chose the Apple Magic Mouse and the Apple Space Gray new keyboard. So they now have a Space Gray option, which I think looks super slick. And on the desk here, we have a Satechi, I believe it's pronounced, a Satechi DeskMate. So the desk protector, I guess you could call it. It's 24 inches by 12. I think they cost about $25, and I have these all over the place now, so I don't have to have a separate mouse pad. Magic Mouse is not my favorite thing in the world, but I liked how it looks, so I'm dealing with the deficiency of the Magic Mouse too, just so that I can have it look pretty like that. Next up, let's talk a little bit about audio and how we're getting audio in and audio out. So I'll start with audio in, and we'll kind of work our way through the system here and talk about how this is set up. This has been the most arduous task, figuring out how to do all of this. There's not a lot of information about this. I'll also likely do some, once I figure out how to use it properly, I'll do some how I record a podcast once I figure out how to record a podcast with all of this stuff. So let's start with the input, which would be Shure SM7B mics. Right, so we have, these are dynamic mics, so they need either phantom power or some sort of gain. So we'll talk about how we get that gain here in a second. I love these mics because I don't need a pop filter. You know, when you say your P's and your T's, and you don't want that popping the mic, and so I'm not a microphone expert, but these I can speak right into it without having to have a filter over top of it. So these are held or mounted to a Yellowtech Mica. These, good luck navigating their website and figuring information out about these things. But this mic boom here is $400. The smaller ones, the medium versions, are $330, I believe. So the advantage of these are industrial grade. They're designed for radio stations and things like that. Disadvantage to them is that there's just no information. It's hard to figure out where to buy it, how to buy it, and what to buy. So hopefully I can help you by putting links in the description showing you where to get it. They come unterminated or non-terminated, so you do have to add some of your own XLR connectors. You buy them on Amazon, buy Neutrik connections. So I bought male, female. I bought a Weller, whatever you call it, soldering iron, and figuring out how to do it. And I have a video up on the YouTube channel of everybody telling me I'm doing it wrong, but it seems to work. I don't have any ground loops or hissing, so I must have done it okay. So this is the XL boom, and then you have to choose your mounting system, and you'll notice I have a different mount on the guest mics versus my mic, just based on where all my wiring is set up. They have a C-clamp or a table clamp version, and then they also have a through mount or a clamp that's very similar to this that will go through the table, but the issue I have is I have a roughly 2-inch thick wooden surface, so I needed to use the bushing. So the bushing is what I needed to use in order to be able to reach the depth that I needed in order for it to fit the table. So the bushings, I believe, were $60 a piece, where the clamp mount can come as part of the mic boom. You can buy it separately. I bought these from proaudio.com. From there, you have to terminate the male connection on the other end of the boom pole, and then up under the table here is where we get some gain. So we get clean gain. There's a 4-port Cloud Lifter CL4, which costs about $400. I have that up under the table here with all of the XLR connections mounted and run to as cleanly as possible under the desk. So as you can see here, you don't see any wires. From there, we're feeding, so we feed our clean 25 dB of gain into, I have up underneath here on my human scale mount or human scale CPU tower holder, I have a Focusrite Scarlett 18i8. I obviously don't need 18 inputs, I need 4 inputs. And in fact, in here I need 3 inputs because I'm only running 3 microphones with the option to run a 4th. So the 18i8 is connected to the Cloud Lifter. That's my USB, what do you call that thing? That's my USB interface, that's what it's called. So that interface is where I add phantom power, and I can adjust the input level that then feeds via USB, feeds my MacBook Pro via USB 3.0. From there, I can use the Focusrite control and the Logic Pro X editing software, which I'm going to use for editing and capturing the audio. We also have then on the output, I've got a pair of, I love these speakers. These are Audio Engine A5 Plus. I'm a silk dome guy. I like soft dome tweeters. I think they sound better. I'm pretty sensitive to harsh sounds, which is opposite. Most men have a hard time hearing higher pitch frequencies. I don't know. For me, it's bothersome. So I prefer the smoothness of a silk dome tweeter. They have 5-inch Kevlar woofers, and the left tower here is the powered tower. We're feeding it with a simple 1/8-inch connection that's coming from the MacBook Pro and feeding the left and right pair. I do need to get some stands made in order to bring the audio up a little bit here to bring it up to ear level, improve imaging, but I'm telling you, these speakers are great at $400 a pair. Powered speakers, they're awesome. That's feeding down through my wiring down to the S8 subwoofer. It's a down-firing 8-inch woofer. The woofer is not as great, I think, as the speakers are, but it accomplishes the job and gets those frequencies below 50 hertz. These play down to 50 hertz, up to 22,000 kilohertz, and then the subwoofer's picking up. I have it crossed over at 60 hertz, and so we're picking up the entire frequency range here for the rather uncritical listening that I'm doing here while I'm editing and maybe occasionally playing Spotify, streaming some music. So that's the audio setup for the system. Last thing we have to get audio to your ears is if we're recording. I have a pre-Sonos HP4 up here on top of the Focusrite Scarlett. So the Focusrite Scarlett feeds the pre-Sonos, which then amplifies that headphone output to run 3 pairs of Audio-Technica. These are the ATH50 or M50X model. I have a gray one. I don't know why I had the gray one, and then I have the 2 black pairs for the guest in order to I guess denote that I'm in charge here or something. I don't know. So that's why I had a gray set, and so then I got a matching pair of black. I also have a Brainwaves under desk mount, so we can nice and neatly mount our headphones up under the table, up under the desk. So now acoustic treatments. Now I didn't do this scientifically in here. I just have certain walls and certain ceilings, and I put some treatments on the walls. I had these left over from either my home theater or my wealth management office that I intended to treat. But this was something very specific that I had designed. There's a photo I had taken in my wash bay, my GG3 RS. This, believe it or not, is an acoustic treatment. So these are designed to take and get rid of first and second reflections and help dampen some of the vibration you get, especially in this box. There's an 8-foot ceiling, drywall, acoustic nightmare. So this is these are 4 feet by 2 feet. Now this is what GIK Acoustics calls an art wall. If you go to gikacoustics.com, you click on the tab for art wall. I want to say this was like $350, so it wasn't as expensive as it looks. But man, I think it looks pretty darn incredible. It's a really, really good setup. And then the byproduct of it is it looks great on camera and also helps dampen some of the vibration. I also have, these are their bass traps. These are their 242 bass traps, which I put underneath my shelf. We have them on the ceiling up here. I have them behind camera. I also have one behind where my normal speaking area is. Traditionally, you would set this up where, let's say your speakers were here, you would have reflection points. So this speaker's angled, you could essentially draw a line, and then you would have a first and then a second reflection. I wasn't able to calculate that because of the space I have here, so the main purpose of these is just to take away some of the vibration, especially off the ceiling here. I've taken and mounted these acoustic treatments, again, all from GIK Acoustics. I also took and put on the ceiling, I put some, these are actually drop ceiling tiles. I had some of those left over from my other office. I put those on the back of the door as well, so the door could still open and close, and hope to just take away some of the reflection in here. And I'm sure you can tell from the lav mic, the audio quality is pretty decent. I think it really does sound great in here. So that's a tour of my now studio, I guess we can call it, my podcast studio or my office or my editing station, whatever you want to call it. I love being in here, and that's what I wanted. I wanted a room that I was comfortable in, that I wanted to be in, because I'm going to have to be in it a lot. And I think it really turned out great. I'm sure some of you are tallying what the total cost was. I honestly don't want to know what I have into this thing. It's a lot. I understand that it's a lot, but this is a place that I spend a lot of time in, a lot of energy in, and I wanted it to be comfortable and inviting. A couple of things I'll be doing in the future is I'll probably be doing some sort of Obsessed Garage branded carpet in here. This isn't my first choice of flooring. I'm not a fan at all of laminate flooring in any form or fashion, but it's what was in here. I doubt we'll be in this headquarters forever, so my next office will have taller ceilings, better lighting, and a larger area with probably a dedicated podcasting area. But for now, I'm really psyched at how this turned out. You know, if I someday get an iMac Pro, or the new Mac Pro if it comes out, we'll do something with that. But I think people are gonna not mind hanging out in here. So thanks for watching this video. I guess this really does hold up to the moniker of "Stay tuned for more crazy," because I get this is next level craziness here. So thanks for watching. What happens when the force pulls you back, your foot naturally comes off the gas. You have to keep your foot to the floor,